Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're finally going to install the Tunze Osmolator. Now this should be pretty simple, so let's get started. Now let's talk about what's going to go inside the cabinet. I have to put this container inside the cabinet because I have to feed the tubing that'll go on top of the canister inserted through the cap, routed through the back of the cabinet to the tank. Also, the medium arm pump, which I'll show you how it's done, this has to go inside the container. Now let's get things rearranged here. Little sneak peek at my tools. I have some brushes, sand sifter, filter floss, tubing for water changes, and Purifloss pads for filtration. Just some of the things I use on daily maintenance. Let's take some of this stuff out. And where I want the container is right here on the bottom. But it's not gonna fit. So let's make changes. So I went ahead and removed everything from my top shelf. That way we can put our container into the bottom where I want it. As you saw before, it barely made it. But I found out that we have 2 holes left over for the pins to move the shelf up. Or maybe one, it'll work. So let's get this shelf up so we can route all the tubing that's needed for the Osmolator. There we go. Now we have plenty of space. Put the container here and hopefully put my basket back where it went. I guess that's not gonna happen. I'll make some changes for that later on. But now, we have to get a hole on top of this cap. I'll show you how. Now, luckily for me, and you can find these containers at your local fish store, or you can also order it online. But you do have your cap, which I made a hole in already. I'll show you in a moment. And then it has an air hole in the back with a cap, which I am going to use to insert the medium pump's power cable to the control box. Now for those of us without power drills, unfortunately, what I did to make my hole was I took my trusty X-Acto knife, I started a little small hole, and then took a screwdriver and just made it bigger. This top lid, the plastic on it is pretty thin, so it's very easy. And then the tubing can go in just like that. So that's the first part done. Let's put our medium pump in. So I wanted to show you a close-up shot. Let's wait till my camera goes on focus. There you go. Just to show you how I'm gonna do this. I was going to use electrical tape to fish it through, but I don't want none of that sticky mess. So I'm just gonna use a regular hanger and some string. Just fish the hanger through. Wrap your string. Make sure you get a couple good wraps on there. And I do a little loop at the end. There you go. Now we wrap cable up. Again, put a couple good wraps on it. And then I'll do my loop again. And just pull it right through carefully. There you have it. Now remember, you do want to have your tubing on the pump before you completely put it inside the container. So let's do that right now. Where are you going? Now if you saw my unboxing review video, I showed you that it has this little grommet here. We want to make sure that this goes to the tank end, because this is where you're going to screw it to the clamp in back of your tank. So we want to feed it through the cap. And hook it up to our meter run pump. Now, for the meter run pump, there's a little adapter. You can take that off and make sure that your hose is nicely tight and firm, and then put it back in. There you go. Now I don't see myself taking the container out to get it filled with RO water. In the near future I will get an RODI filter. I'll probably just take the cap off and use another container to refill it. It's the easiest for me right now. Now this cabinet has a hole on top that was made when I purchased the cabinet. So I'm going to route both wires to the back here. There's some space behind the shelf. So let's give it a shot. Now I just want to make sure again that the metering pump is at the bottom. And it is. But just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and mark my container about 4 inches, and that would be my refill mark. Once the water hits that mark, I'll have to go get more water and refill. That way the pump doesn't dry out. Got my Sharpie. I'm just going to make a line right here. It's to your preference. Really doesn't matter how high or how low, just as long as you don't run out of water and your pump runs dry. So that's it for the container. Let's go up top and set up the adapter. Now for all of us that own the Nuvo 10 gallon, we really don't have much space. But I have to get this adapter in the back compartment here. And I already found the space where I'm gonna have it at. And my water level's set as well. I'll show you a little close up. So it'll make it easy to put the sensor and the float valve where it has to be. Now I have to rearrange a couple things here. My AI prime should be fine. I pretty much don't have to move the light. I just have my heater, which, if you want to know, I use the Cobalt Neothermal. All I have to do is make sure my adapter is positioned correctly. Now all you need right now to hook up to the adapter is your optical sensor and your float switch. And then I'll show you where I'm going to put the control box at. So now, let me bring the magnet up so you guys can see. You want to unscrew the nut. And screw it again onto the adapter. Focus, camera. Thank you. Now that I have the float on, it's time for the optical sensor. And it goes in here. Just like that. And that's how it should look like for this adapter. Now we want to put the plastic feet in the back. There's your plastic feet. Now let's put it back in the compartment. Now let me get the camera closer so you can see. The probe is just touching the water level. Now your tube gets mounted to the clamp. You take the screw out, which has a nut on the other side. Put it through the grommet. Now I want the tubing to just barely go over the edge of the clamp. And then you just take a screwdriver and tighten the grommet up. I'm going to position it on the other side of my skimmer. Came to the other side, that way you can get a closer view, and then just tighten up the clamp. And there you have it. Now I'm going to be putting the controller right next to my cabinet on the side right here. Now make sure your surface is nice and clean. Pretty simple. Just peel off the backing. And then just place it where you want it. Now one last thing is hooking up power, which is pretty simple, and also cleaning up wires. I'll probably use some zip ties or whatnot, make everything nice and neat. Now for this part, you just take the cable from the metering pump and hook it up to the terminals from the controller box. The wire from the metering pump and the terminals from your controller box. Now remember, it doesn't matter which side goes where. Now that connection I'll probably raise up secure it to the back of my cabinet. That way, in case any water drips, it doesn't get to it. And then you take your power cable. I have a multi-outlet in the back here. And this goes to your control box. Now remember, there will be some adjustments that you have to make to set your preferred water level. As I turned the pump on, it filled it up a little bit past where I want it. So I brought it back down. I'll make corrections to the salinity. It is very important you have your salinity set at the desired water level where the osmolator stops. Now as you can see, I have some more rearranging to do. I'll probably just sneak my heater in here. There it goes. Now that's it for the install of the Tunze Osmolator. As you can see, there's been some big changes to my tank. I'm going more towards the SPS. I want some more acros and I'm gonna give it a shot. If you wanna see more of that, you can follow me on Instagram at Reef_Loco. And again, if you like my videos and want to see more, don't forget to like and please subscribe.